Hello, my name is Bohun and this is a guide on how to become a boomer in Mountain Blade Bannerlord. Before we start, let's establish what a boomer is. Boomer refers to the baby boomer generation. The main characteristic, of course, is the noticeable increase in the birth rate. So how do we get more babies in Bannerlord? Well, I'm glad you asked. Sit back, relax and enjoy as we explore how to become a boomer. Chapter 1: The Russian Mongol. A good boomer is a versatile boomer, a master of all disciplines and walks of life. So let's pick a culture first, as it will dictate the rest of the character build. In our previous playthrough, we played as Azerite trader to reach 1 million dinars in trade profit. For the purpose of today's build, we will pick Khuzait as our culture. Once done, it is time to create our boomer character and pick our starting traits. After nailing the looks of a typical boomer, it is time to pick our background. For family, we choose tribespeople for 1 attribute point in control, 1 focus point in bow and riding. Early childhood, we go with your way with people for 1 attribute point in social and 1 focus point in charm and leadership. Adolescence, we pick work in the village smithy for 1 attribute point in vigor and 1 focus point in two-handed and smithing. Youth, we go with road with the scouts and get 1 attribute point in endurance and focus point in riding and bow. Young adulthood, we choose Hewlett successful manhunt and get 1 attribute point in cunning and 1 focus point in tactics and leadership. And finally, for story background, we pick you organize the travelers to break out for 1 attribute point in social and 1 focus point in leadership and charm. Okay, meet Steven.
I'm a Russian Mongol and I'm Russian.
No, not this Steven, our Steven. As our difficulty, we pick Bannerlord, which turned out to be a sour grape for me due to the AI upgrade patch. Deaths enable, no auto allocation for clan member perks and no iron mode. Our family name will be Toronto, because nothing says family like Fast and Furious. We quickly create an appropriate boomer banner and we start the game. Decision was made that as another difficulty we will discard all the gear and money to have true rags to riches experience. Naturally, in this case, our first point of business is to win a couple of tournaments for some seed money and decent early gear. And this is where we encounter our first challenge. AI is too good. The trader run we did previously was quite rewarding and challenging at the same time, but with the changes TaleWorlds did, the challenge goes a little bit too much over the line and the fights become more of a slog than they have to be.
You bastard!
In the face of adversity, however, we need to establish goals for our boomer Steven, otherwise his potential will be wasted. So, as we established at the beginning, a characteristic of a boomer generation is a rapid birth rate increase. A good indication of our success in this department would be establishing a minor clan. Minor clan achievement requires us to have 7 kids born. Another trophy that goes well with big family is Great Granny, which, as the name suggests, requires you to become a great grandparent. We will also get few more Steam achievements on the way with 1 surprise which was requested on a previous Mountain Blade series, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The first question we have to answer is, how will we get 7 babies? Well, I'm glad you asked. In a nutshell, when 2 married individuals are stationary on the campaign map and are in the same party and location, there is a random chance for the woman to get pregnant. This chance is higher the younger the woman is, and it decreases with age. This chance can be also increased. With a 25 skill points in charm, we can take Vero, which adds 30% to the likelihood of having children. This skill does not stack, which means that if both parents have it, the chance is still 30% higher, not 60. No matter, we did more with less. So now we know that we need to get 25 in charm, which should not be difficult. For the build that I planned, I want to max charm anyway, so we're gonna start by dumping all the extra attribute points from leveling into social until we get 10. Okay, now let's get back to Steven.
I love the fuck out of cookies.
No, not this Steven. Our boomer Steven. After being taken prisoner by some random group, we managed to escape and finally win few tournaments. With earned money, we purchased some initial gear, prioritizing bow and arrows. We need to increase our clan rank in order to get a mercenary contract and then join one of the kingdoms. Clan rank is increased by earning renown, and we earn renown by winning battles and tournaments. Initially, grinding is not easy, as looters are quite accurate and can quickly diminish your health by throwing rocks. With every encounter, we upgrade our gear, sell the excess, and any prisoners we manage to obtain. So this is how we are looking at level 12. Social sits at 7 with 3 focus points in charm and leadership, 4 in riding and athletics, 5 in bow, 1 in one-handed, two-handed, and very important, 1 in medicine. At 25 skill points in medicine, we will take the trait that grants us plus 5 health points. So with this, almost 6,000 seed money and clan rank 1, we can join crusades as mercenaries. We move to Azurite territory and continue hunting looters, desert bandits and winning tournaments. And we also added clearing bandit hideouts to our skill set, as desert hideouts are quite easy to complete. Enemies have no shields and no ranged weapons, making our bow a fantastic tool for the job. We slowly moved into the Crusades territory, and since we got clan rank 2, we can join Crusades as vassals. We get a few troops from our Khan along with a brand new shiny step warbow. There is, however, one more important thing that we will need to get from our lord, and it is his daughter. We try to negotiate some kind of arranged marriage with Lady Bolat. However, Monchun Khan wants more than we can afford. In the nearby Chaikand, however, his oldest daughter Aljin resides. Our charm in the meantime went to 74, and it was about time to see if Boomer Steven has all his T's crossed and I's dotted.
A lot of fellas been asking, yo, Tyrone, how you pick up girls? My tips and tricks are simple. Well, the first thing is fresh haircut. Tip number 2 is your swag needs to be on point. Tip number 3, you have to be confident. And number 4th tip is you have to have some eye contact with the female.
Okay, first obstacle behind us, and now some time has to pass before we meet Aljin again. In the downtime, we can hunt some looters and hire our first companion, Baichar the Knowing. We also get awarded Vladiv Castle as the war with Sturgia is taking place. We make our way to our new home and pick up high-tier troops that come with the castle. As soon as we leave, the castle is besieged, so we give it away. With the party of 82 men, we assist Monchuk in besieging Tial, and we manage to take it. Since we are a new lord with no fiefs, the town is awarded to us. Tial will make a perfect home for our future family. Now, here is where things strangely came together without even an inch of planning. As I'm sure you know, the Bannerlord campaign has you on the quest to find your younger brother and your younger sister who were taken. Together with the older brother, we find one of the bandits and then we split out. We need to get 20 men, 1 companion, some extra money and clan rank 1. Once completed, we encountered Radagos, the bandit we captured in the first town we visit. In our case, it's Tial. To make things even easier, the next objective for the quest is to clear out Bandit's hideout just outside of the town we are currently in. Since this is super convenient, let's attack the hideout and get Steven's siblings back. Since Tial has some loyalty problems, we can stabilize it with the help of our older brother. Then we can help crush a big Sturgeon army and take Vladiv castle once again, and again it is awarded to us. Another thing on our to-do list is... No, not this, Michael, you silly goose. Next thing is to talk about Algin's and Steven's future together, so let's go through the...
Fresh haircut, your swag needs to be on point, to be confident, eye contact with the female.
Here we go for a bold move, and one final thing needed is Monchug's blessing, but before we get it, we need to give him a hand in defending a Vladiv castle. We are doing well until... Well, I'm sure our future father-in-law didn't see that, as he is happy to give us his blessing for the low price of 7,000 dinars. Oh yeah, the first wedding, naked. naked. We immediately call Algin to our party and we take her gear off. This is not the baby making part yet. Spouses come in with a very good gear, which will be a great upgrade on what we currently have. Now, it's time to make babies. We get back to Tial and rest in town. Since both Algin and Steven are in the party, it should only take a moment. And what do you know? On the 15th day of summer, Algin becomes pregnant. And for you and me, this is a great time to have the talk. So, pregnancy in Bannerlord lasts for 36 days, so knowing the first day will let us know when the pregnancy will be resolved. In our case, it is 36 days starting from 15th of summer. That's great, but summer is not a month. How do I calculate this, I hear you ask? Well, I'm glad you did. In Bannerlord, a year has 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter, and each season has 21 days, which means that one in-game year equates to 84 days. So when starting on the 15th of summer and with 21 days per season, we have 6 days left in summer, then 21 in autumn, so that's 27. This leaves us with 9 days of pregnancy left in winter. So this makes the ETA of Steven's firstborn sometime around 9th or 10th of winter. That's all good and nice, but why do we need to know this? That's another excellent question. So each birth event has few outcomes. In relation with the offspring, we can get a single child, twins, or a stillborn. In relation to mother, she can either survive the birth or die during. Knowing that, we can influence the outcome by saving a couple days before the birth. Since we have a lot of time on our hands, it would be great to do something with it. So we busy ourselves with smithing. Crafting a two-handed sword will let us clear gangs from towns, stage prison breaks, and get the two-handed skill up. We also take part in battles, tournament, sieges, and whatever else we can find. Then on the 10th of winter, 1085, the first child was born. We name her Saloon and we move on because this feat has to be repeated 6 more times. Chapter 2. Husband, Father, Warrior.
I'm a warrior, and that's in my blood.
Wrong Steven again. So now we have the recipe for success. We know how to expand our family, and even if things go bad, we can rebuild and start over. The thing, however, that works against us is time. Will we be able to produce a great grandchild for Boomer Steven before he passes away? Maybe. You see, the fact that a daughter was born first is not ideal. As we already discussed, to produce new family members, we need to marry two characters. How this works in relation to NPCs in our clan is that if we marry a son to someone from another clan, that person will join our clan. If we marry a daughter, on the other hand, she will leave our clan and join the clan of her new husband. If they have a baby as soon as they marry, and then they marry that child, we may get the achievement with no problem. However, we are talking about TaleWorlds math. In the light of this, it is advisable to marry a son. Plus, we are able to influence all the attribute and focus points for the newborn characters, which turns them into absolute chads. We are talking demigods, giants and apex predators. Steven's younger siblings will already be powerhouses, and his babies will bring hope and strength to the world. At this stage, we can just wait in town and do nothing else but having babies to get the achievement. It would be absolutely fine to satisfy the requirements of the playthrough, but sitting still is not something a self-respecting boomer will do. Tally ho, let's go. The idea here was to use the time between popping out offspring to aid Kuzates in the war efforts and progress the Investigate Narets' Folly quest, which will lead us to assemble the Dragon Banner. This is easy stuff. We talk to the nobles when we see them. We will, however, hold off with the assembly of the banner itself for some time. Now, let's get back to the war.
War never changes.
I'm sure it goes without saying that we pick battles that we can win and avoid the ones where defeat is certain. And if we have to fight, we use all the tricks in the book to win. This strategy leads us to our first achievement of the playthrough, crush your enemies. In the meantime, we managed to get our older brother married to Bolad, who's a younger daughter of our lord. Our wife becomes pregnant again, and this time she has twins. 2 boys. After we marry out the first male, we will be able to control where he and his spouse are, which will give us a grandchild sooner rather than later. I was thinking that the birth rate in the game is lower, or maybe we just got super lucky during this playthrough. My plan was to retire our wife when she reaches 40, but to my surprise, she was done with 7 kids by that time.
Nice job, team!
And this resulted in reaching our big milestone, Minor Clan. Another trophy we got in the meantime was Against All Odds, which requires defeating a force that has 500 more troops than we. There are a couple of methods of getting this, but the easiest one in my opinion is to participate in a siege defense and just auto-resolve it. Let me explain. By this stage, our levels allowed us to have enough focus points to have 5 in Charm, Leadership, Scouting, Smithing, Bow and Tactics, also 4 in Riding and Athletics, but what's important is Tactics. We auto-resolved most siege defenses before the one we are about to do, which raised our tactics to 93, which is not impressive by any means, but will be more than enough. Once we spot a good siege, we approach the castle and wait until the fight breaks out. The bombardment stage will be over and the fighting sounds will start. In this case, I don't have the method perfected yet, so I was still in the town when the bombardment stage was going on. Doing this is too risky in case another overwhelming force shows up. It is harder to escape. Stay outside and wait for the fighting to start. When it does, click on the settlement and break in. You will lose some troops, but it's worth it. Once in, help the settlement and do not attack. No, just send troops. This will start the auto-resolve phase. You can drop a save in case any of your important party members die in the process or you just want a better outcome. In this case, the numbers show that the opposite army is not larger than 500, but I think the game also takes troops that are wounded in the bombardment stage under consideration. This is the detail, however. As you can see, we won this defense by a landslide. We took out 999 of their troops, where they only took 265 of ours. Crushing victory. Another way to get this trophy is to engage the other side with many ranged units in our army and let the enemy charge while we rain arrows on them and retreat when they are close. Attack again and do the same thing over and over again, winning the battle by attrition. Not soon after this, we managed to get another trophy, Know Your Enemy, which means that we won 100 battles against enemy armies. Khuzaites were in constant wars and we were being pulled in all directions. This was not sustainable and required closing as many potential fronts as possible. The first kingdom to fall was Sturgia. We had them on the ropes after the last war. They were left with only one castle and one town. Taking Ustokol went fine. We developed Steven's stats and upgraded the gear to the point that we were no longer an easy prey. My strategy for taking settlement at this stage was to rush to the gates, pick off shooters and help the ram open the gates. Protect the assaulting troops by shooting stone throwers from the murder holes. Once the inner gates were open, reinforce another assaulting parties to have full force inside the town. With the fall of Ustokol Castle, the Sturgia is no more. Next on the chopping block is the Northern Empire. Right after, the time of a Western Empire has come. The Boomer machine is unstoppable. In the meantime, we assembled the Dragon Banner, and on the third day of winter 1102, we pledged alliance to our lord and started the quest to defeat the Empire. A year after, our first daughter becomes of age, and as soon as we're done with the siege of Karban Seth, we call her into our army, we give her good gear, and look at those stats. 6 social, 4 endurance, and 12 additional attribute points to spend, not to mention the amount of focus points. The reason why we went with social for our firstborn was in case we decide to continue the game after Steven dies and we need to have a good heir. After investing all the points, this is how we are looking for Selun, the firstborn of Steven the Boomer. And keep in mind, Selun's level is only 14. We ignore the main quest and let the conspiracy build up. We do, however, have another hindrance in our quest of getting rid of Ragea of the Southern Empire. This time as Caladog and the Kingdom of Battania. We take him out, and with the successful siege of Danglanis, Battania has been officially removed. Soon after, Vlandia sieges Danglanis with the overwhelming force, so we use the same siege defense trick. As soon as the fighting starts, we break in to help the defenders and we send our troops. They suffer an embarrassing defeat. King Dertherd, the Vlandian scum, is already dead at this stage of the game. Shame he didn't live long enough to see such a crushing defeat. On the 11th of summer, 1106, Ragea is revealed to lead the secret pact against us. This is a big blow as some of the Khuzaites clans turn against us, which, despite us winning on all the fronts, tips the scale to her favor and leaves us in a difficult situation. Now, let me explain the current situation without too many details. We control most of the real estate on the map, however our forces due to recent betrayals are few. Our clan rank is high enough to create multiple parties. We trained our companions to become good party leaders, so with extra 3 parties, over 180 troops each, we can call a substantial army at 0 influence cost per day. Due to multiple enemy armies, we do not have time to reinforce our army, which means that our force diminishes with each encounter. The best strategy we can think of is to call in other nobles to our army, and as soon as their troops fall below 40-30, we remove them from the army and call in the new ones with 100 and more. We managed to save up a lot of influence, and with our charm being quite high, we drain influence of other clans and enforce good policies while we disown the bad ones. This gives us more influence gain, more loyalty in conquered settlements, and better control over the kingdom despite not being the ruler. We hold a few well-prospecting towns and couple of castles in the north, which was formerly Sturgeon settlements. AI at this stage goes ballistic. Not only do other kingdoms constantly go to war with us, our nobles call for wars with kingdoms we signed peace 2 weeks ago. Thanks to more than 15,000 influence, we can call for peace, but due to the tribute we have to pay, our clan alone is being forced to cough up over 10,000 dinars per day. We are bleeding out and our previously strong foundations are giving up under the pressure. Time is not on our side. Since we don't have time to starve the garrison and destroy the walls, our best bet is to assault towns and castles with ladders only. This works quite well after the nearby range defenders were taken out. Mizea and Melion Castle become hotspots. Mizea is being constantly attacked by Ragea and her dogs. The town changed owners more times than there are fake YouTube apologies. This, however, presented a perfect opportunity as we were able to crush our enemies when they were besieging any of the 2 places. By taking defeated nobles as prisoners, we made sure that the opposite forces were diminishing with our every win. To make this more successful, take the keen sight trait from Scout skill tree and mounted patrols from Riding skill tree. Both traits reduce the prisoner escape chance from your party by 50%. This effect stacks, which means that once you capture an enemy noble, they will be prisoner until you free them, ransom them, or when the war is over. In the meantime, we managed to assault our 100 fortification and achieve the real estate trophy. Currently active story quest requires us to tip the war score to plus 100 points, which we get after taking Sestadaim Castle. This ends Ragea, her southern empire, and the main questline. We are awarded the Freedom Trophy for getting the barbarian victory, but we are not yet done.
And the peoples of this new world would long remember the one who destroyed tyranny and delivered peace.
All that fighting took our eye from the future of the family. We quickly get our oldest son married to Elena, who becomes pregnant relatively soon. At this stage we will be marrying all our sons and nephews to gain more family members. Since we have a little moment of respite and 19,000 of influence, we can decide when we go to war with other kingdoms. We take this time to empty garrisons in our settlements. The troops will join our and our companions' parties, which will result in a 1,200 troops army, costing us 0 influence per day. Emptying garrisons will also decrease wages in towns and castles. Elena gives birth to a girl. Paea is Stephen's first granddaughter. Vlandia is next on the chopping block, and it doesn't take long for them to become just a bad memory. We've put some good work in the past to cut down Aserai, so finishing them is just a formality. And this, ladies and gentlemen, nets us the Supreme Emperor trophy. Why? I don't know, but apparently you don't have to be a ruler of a kingdom when you conquer all the Calradia. Now the time has come to retire and patiently wait for our great-grandchild. Steven is getting old, so as soon as Freya is of age, we find her husband. She gets pregnant and gives birth to Oragur, making Steven a great-grandfather and an absolute boomer. So this has been quite a long playthrough, but I did learn a lot from it. This and previous Fat Cat series brings us to 31 out of 50 achievements for Mountain Blade Bannerlord. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you are planning to get any of the trophies, I recommend you give it a go and have fun. This is going to be it for today. Thanks for watching all the way and for your moral support. I will catch you in the next one.